If they running their mouth, then they looking for trouble. Ran right up in the knowledge, now they back in the huddle. See, they know we can fight, new content every week. Me and Dr. Clyde, keep on bringing the heat. Now they know that we driven, and they know we ain't quitting. Yoshi and the winners, keep on bringing the energy. Unity. See, they know we ain't stopping, and they know they got problems, and they ran out of options. If they know we got a problem, can't let it go unsolved. Bring back learner, Afrocentric history, we see tomorrow. Karma is karma, I say what I say out here underwater. Till I see I fall off, then I bring y'all up on note. I'm back up on my Clyde winners, 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 Clyde winners. Divine winters, Clyde winters, mind bender, Clyde winters. I'm Richard, ride with ya, master teacher, create masters, Clyde winters. Give respect to the elder, Clyde winters. I know that somebody out there looking for me. I told you somebody out there looking for me. I think there's somebody out there looking for me. I think there's somebody out there looking for me.
We have to live by heart. We have to live by heart. I have not done wrong. I have not robbed. I have not stolen. I have not drank. I have not told lies. I have not stolen food. I was not stolen. I have not fornicated with the fornicator. I have not caused anyone to weep. I have not dissembled. I have not transgressed. I have not discussed secrets. I have brought no lawsuits. I have not wronged the population. I have not struck kill. I have not transgressed the law. I have not been hunted. Except what I'm talking about on the tongue. I have not made extolling. I have not bragged. I have not cursed. I have not been violent. I have not confounded truth. I have not been impatient. I have not cursed against
Dr. Winter's legacy is a testament to the power of knowledge and the unyielding spirit of exploration. His impact is felt worldwide, as he shares and enlightens at conferences, symposiums, and collaborative projects. His voice is a beacon in the academic world, challenging, inspiring, and always educating. His journey reminds us that the quest for knowledge is never-ending, and its impact is timeless. Dr. Winters teaches us to challenge the narratives and to learn with an open mind. As he always says, B1 is not a group, it's a lineage. Let his story inspire everybody to pursue knowledge relentlessly and to always seek the truth. Now let us welcome in the grandfather of research, the Trill OG himself, the Honorable Dr. Clyde Winter.
What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? How's everybody doing, family? Today is a very exciting day, not just because it's sun shining out there and you get all that, the Majara, that solar energy, that energy that metabolizes in us, and it becomes, in a sense, that melanated energy that allows us to have the Majora, that mojo aura, that aura that is so strong that it impacts on everybody. Yes. That's why, family. That's one of the reasons why the whole world culture is our culture. It's a culture based on us. Why? FBA, baby. FBA all the way. But, it's very exciting. Yesterday, last night, me and Eve, we were talking about Kamala Harris because this is a big issue. It's a real big issue today, because every time a presidential, you know, election comes about, they got to try to make black people vote. And one of the reasons that they want to make black people vote is that even though you're always taught that we're a minority, yeah, that's a lie. We're not a minority in this country. We are, in a sense, there's more foundational black Americans in this country than Latinos, whites, or whatever. But, remember, in a sense, they've always counted us as three, what is it, 3/5? 3/5, they only count 3/5 of us and all that type of stuff. I mean, come on now. Where's the other 2/5? So again, when they say 47 million, don't you believe it? We're over 100 and something million in this country, but that doesn't matter. Because, see, we don't care as FBA. We're going to do what we need to do, and do what it do. And what does do what we do? It's kind of very interesting. But it's also somewhat kind of sad. And it's sad because as FBA, we always have to fight. And one of the reasons we had to fight is because the fact, in a sense, is that people are always trying to perpetuate some sort of fallacy, some sort of falsehood on us. They're always trying to make us do something. And the thing is, this is that we do what we want to do. Yes. You have to look at this is that people, in a sense, don't know what to do with FBA because many of them are jealous of us. And you say, Dr. Winters, why would anybody be jealous of foundational black Americans? Number one is that we used to be the poorest minority in this country, the poorest people in the country. Now we're not the poorest people in this country. We used to be chattel slaves. Now we have mastery over our own bodies, and most of the time. I mean, as Nelly Fuller say, we're still, in a sense, prisoners of war, but we have a little leniency out on on the yard. They let us get away with a little stuff. How you doing, Ray Wooder? Greetings from the Netherlands, family. B1, baby. Black first, brilliant first. Black and brilliant. That's who we are. We're B1. But again, today I'm going to talk a little bit about Buddhism. When we think about Buddhism, everybody thinks about India. But, what I want to show you today is that this is maybe, they've been teaching you kind of a lie. And that's what most of our history is today. Most of the history written by Europeans is a lie. It's a lie because they don't really want you to know the truth. And they want you to not, in a sense, know the truth, because if you know the truth, then you have a future. Why? If you had a great past, then definitely you can make a great future, right? But again, it's so many things that are going on out there. Yoshimad the genius, he's come out, he's published his book. I'm going to give you a little bit more information on how to order his book later in the show, probably at the show. And he's made another very beautiful video. And I hope you guys will go to yoshimad.gumroad.com and buy some of his videos. I want to share one of his videos with you at this time. Let's check this out.
Gotta stay positive. Gotta stay positive. I gotta stay positive. I gotta stay positive. I can't let that bullshit get to me. I can't let that bullshit distract the G. Try to knock me off my nose. Try to knock me off my feet. Try to knock me off my nose. You can't control the G. I can't let that bullshit get to me. I can't let that bullshit distract the G. Look to the future. Look to the keep my goals in, no controlling. Look, here we going, roller coasting, up and down it, graduating, can't be founding. No more fakers, no more craters, and no more ghettos, no more haters, no more issues, no more friends, no more divide in my head.
I can't let that bullshit get to me. I can't let that bullshit be strategy. Woke up this morning with that shit in my head, tossing in my bed. What the fuck he said? Gotta keep it positive, not the one misled. You don't want misled. Hear the words I said. Look to the future. Look to the future. Look to the future. Look to the.
That's Yoshimod's latest video, and you know, he's got so many beautiful videos out there that I hope you guys will go to yoshimod.gumroad.com and purchase his videos. You know, he's also got his book out. I'm gonna discuss his book a little later and show you some of the scenes in it. But again, today we're going to talk about Buddhism. Whenever we think about Buddhism, we think of Buddhism as a way of life, because Buddhism is not necessarily a religion. It's more a way of life. It's more a way of living. But you know, Buddhism is popular among many people today in the United States. A lot of Black people are moving away from Christianity and Islam to Buddhism, or they supplement their religious beliefs with a philosophy that can encourage them to be more holistic and more understanding of the world. So what I'm going to do is today is I'm going to talk a little bit about this whole idea. I'm going to talk about, you know, the origins, where Buddhism came from. You know, we've been taught a lie, and in this lie, they teach you that Buddhism came from India, and that Buddhism is an Indian religion. That's not entirely the truth. You know, in reality, Buddhism came from, in a sense, Africa. And what we're going to do today is that we're going to discuss this, and I'm going to kind of explain to you how it did originate in Africa, and the intricacies of Buddhism. Because see, you need to know the truth. You must know the truth, and that's what I try to spend my time doing. Is I try to come here every Thursday so we can have these Black History gems and discuss all aspects of our history, all aspects of our culture. You know, again, as I said earlier, me and Eve, we were talking last night about Kamala Harris and the upcoming 2024 presidential election. I hope that you will check that out. Please check out that video. Support all my videos, but support me and Eve, because it was a very interesting discussion, because we talked about the importance of understanding, in a sense, who you vote for, but also we talked about the importance of understanding what is Black, what isn't Black, and why do some people, in a sense, pretend or want to be Black at one time, and then the next time you see them, they don't want to be Black. But check that out. But again, let's get started, and we're going to, in a sense, discuss. You know, we're going to discuss Buddhism from the Kebra Nagast. Go to my Patreon after I do this presentation. I'm going to put these slides in my Patreon account. Join my Patreon. My Patreon is very important, and the reason that my Patreon is important is that it's my Patreon followers that allow me to have the money and opportunity to be able to present these weekly presentations to you. You know, these presentations, they come from a lot of research. Often I have to go to the internet, and I have to go and buy books. Yes, I have to order books from Amazon.com. If I'm not ordering books, I may have to go and get articles, you know, from the newspapers and journals. Many of these articles are behind a paywall. And my Patreon, you know, it provides me with the funds to be able to pay for these articles, to be able to present this work to you. You know, yes, you guys in a sense say, we'll give Dr. Winters, you know, and Cash App. That's fine too. But when you join my Patreon, what you're doing is that you're giving me extended support. You're giving me continuous support. And you're allowing me to be able to make these videos. Okay, you're on my channel. I have over 400. Yes, I have over 400 videos on this channel. These videos deal with all aspects of history. If you're trying to learn your history, or if you're trying to teach your children or teach your friends history, you should have them visit this site. Look at the videos here. These videos have all aspects of the history of Black people, the religions that Black people have practiced. All of that information, you can find it on this channel. Yes, yes. You can find it on my channel that you're on right now listening to this live. See, don't just come for the live, but check out the videos on my YouTube channel. You can order my books at Amazon.com. Let the researcher do the research. Yes, yes, yes. I have a research class that I usually teach. And in this research class, I teach my students how to research. But if you want to be a researcher, you can get these 2 books, and these 2 books can help you to be a great researcher. One of the books, Pathfinder, Clyde Winters in Search of the Roots of Afrocentrism, a memoir. In this book, I discuss how I became a researcher. It discusses why I became a researcher and the trials and tribulations of being an Afrocentric researcher. Yes, yes, yes. You know, it's a thankless job to be an Afrocentric researcher, mainly because the fact is that we don't have often the financial support that people who are in the European system of education, the European Academy. And the Academy, they give billions of dollars, you know, every year to researchers to do research on ancient history. But they want them to do research on ancient history and present to you a picture of ancient history based in which everything was done by white folks, see? But my research is aiming at teaching you what Black people have done. If you want to be a researcher, get my book and find out how I became a researcher, and it can help you to be a researcher too. Pathfinder, Clyde Winters, In Search of the Roots of Afrocentrism, a memoir. This book will lay it out for you. And then when you want to go into the nitty gritty and the fine details of being a researcher, get my book, Afrocentric Researcher, Guide to the Study of Social Science Research Methods. This is a book that I use in my research class. My research class is a 15-week class in which students learn how to do qualitative and quantitative research. They also learn how to interpret research papers, genetics, anthropology, history, all that type of stuff. And this thing is also these ways of, in a sense, you know, becoming a researcher is also in my book, Afrocentric Researcher, Guide to a Study Social Science Research Methods. Get this book and it can help you to be a researcher. Get that book, you see. You know, I've done a whole lot of research on the Meroitic language and the Meroitic civilizations of what we call Nubia today, or the Sudan. And get some of my books, you know, Meroitic Writing and Literature, and the Meroitic Chamber of Philae. Get my book on the Iconography, the prints. Get all of my books. And these books can help you to understand what we're going to discuss today, because we're going to discuss Buddhism, where it originated, you see. So get all of these books, you know. And these are some of the books that can help you to understand more about this period in East African history. Those books include my book, Meroitic Writing and Literature, the Meroitic Chamber of Philae, the Kushite Prince, Akinadad, you know. I did my book on ancient writing systems, and of course my book, Meroitic Relations with Tocharian and the Nile Valley Languages. In Meroitic Relations, I discuss how I deciphered the Meroitic language, and I provide, in a sense, the proof. I provide, in a sense, the evidence that shows that my decipherment of the Meroitic language is correct and supported by other languages and writing systems that exist in that part of Africa today. And also get my book, The African Origin of Buddhism and the Civilization of India. In this book, I talk about the origins of Buddhism, the rites of Buddhism, and everything that you would need to know. So get this book, get all of these books, and it'll help you to get a greater understanding of what I'm going to talk about tonight. The Kebra Nagast, or the Glory of Kings, It's a 14th century national epic of modern Ethiopia written in Ge'ez. Many of you may say, what does the Kebra Nagast have to do with Buddhism? Well, it has a lot to do with Buddhism, because the Kebra Nagast, it tells us about the people who were the Buddhists. Yes, it tells us about the people who were the Buddhists, not only in Africa, but also in India, you see. You've been taught in a sense that Black people, African people, Black people generally can't swim, that they're stay-at-home bodies, that they don't even want to be explorers, or they're not adventurers. But that's false. We've always been explorers, adventurers, and we've always been a literate people. And because we've been a literate people, we've always, in a sense, provided written evidence to support our history and our culture. The Blimea were people who lived in the eastern desert of North Africa from the 7th century BC to the 8th century AD. They established a kingdom in Lower Nubia. By the late 4th century, the Blimey are thought to be part of antiquity. It's very interesting about the Blimey, because even though the Blimey existed in Africa, we find that the Blimeys are mentioned in the earliest Buddhist texts. Yes. It is the Blimeys mentioned in the earliest Buddhist texts. And this is very important because it shows that intimate relationship between the people, in a sense, of Africa and Buddhism. If Blimey are mentioned in Buddhist texts, we can be sure that Merodes, from the ancient kingdom of Kush, were not ignorant of Kharoshthi, which was the writing system that many Buddhists used to record their thoughts and their ideas. This would explain why many of the Meroitic symbols agree with Kharoshthi. They agree because some Meroites were probably already literate in Kharoshthi due to the influence of Buddhism in the Meroitic Empire. Let's look at this picture on the left-hand side. On this picture on the left-hand side, you can see, in a sense, a Epidemic with 4 heads and with 3 heads and 4 arms. You can see, in a sense, a Epidemic rising from a lotus flower. And then, in a sense, we can see a couple. Yes, a Meroitic couple that has, in a sense, the swastika or one of the Buddhist signs on her skirt. And then finally at the top, we see, in a sense, a comparison. Yes. A comparison of the signs of the Meroitic script and the Kharoshthi script, which was used by many Buddhists to write their thoughts, ideas, and their teachings. Flavius Philostratus, the writer of the Vita Apollonia, Volume 1, claimed that the Gymnosophists of Meroe originally came from India. Gymnosophist was the name for the Buddhists. Yes, the Buddhists were called, in the ancient European texts, Gymnosophists. The fact that the Kushana had formerly ruled India around the time that the Meroitic writing were introduced to the Kushite civilization led to the hypothesis that the ancestors of the Gymnosophists may have been Kushana philosophers. The historical evidence of the Kushana having ruled India made the classical references to Indians, East Indians, the Gymnosophists in Meroe, an important source for the construction of alternative theories about the possible location of the cognate language of Meroitic. Yes. For years, people tried to attempt to read the Meroitic script. The Meroitic script was deciphered over 100 years ago, but although it was deciphered, people couldn't read the inscriptions. People couldn't read it because they didn't know what language the Meroitic inscriptions were written in. But through my research, I was able to find, in a sense, that the Meroitic inscriptions was written in Kharoshthi. Yes. Heliodorus, in a book called Ethiopian, there's a very detailed account about the ancient Gymnosophists of Buddhists in Meroe. The Ethiopian is a love story set in Kush. It indicates that Buddhism was popular in the Meroitic Empire. The Ethiopian is a love story about Theogenes and Chariclea. Chariclea was the daughter of King Hydaspes and Queen Persina of Kush. Queen Persina placed Chariclea in the care of Sisimithris, who was chief of the king's Gymnosophist or Buddhist council. Sisimithris, a Gymnosophist Buddhist, took the child to Egypt and placed her in the care of Charicles, a Pythian priest, who takes Chariclea to Delphi, where she meets Theogenes. This is very important, and we understand this background because by setting this love story, the Ethiopian, you see, in Meroe, it shows, in a sense, the intimate details about how the people in the Meroitic Sudan lived. It also, in a sense, shows us or gave us insight in how to read the language. Yes, yes, yes. Our ancestors always left us little tidbits, little morsels that when you really ate them up, that you could really find detailed information about our history, our culture, and our science. Many Meroites were Buddhists. Look at these various examples that show the influence of the Gymnosophists or Buddhists in the Meroitic Sudan. Look at the picture of Epidemic with three heads and 4 arms. Look at Epidemic rising out of, in a sense, a lotus flower. And then finally look in the middle where we see this couple and we see the swastika on her skirt to show that intimacy, that detail, you see. But you've never seen these things before. The European never talks about this. When the European talks about Africa, he talks about it in a sense of so-called black emperors, yeah, like the other pharaohs in Egypt weren't black, you see. Or they talk about the Meroitic Empire and they're fighting the Romans and things like that, but they don't tell you, in a sense, the intricacies of the Meroitic culture. They don't tell you how the people lived. And see, when you really look at it and you really try to find out the truth, then you see that it's much more evidence, much more information about their civilization that's been waiting for you to know. Yes, it's knowledge that's been waiting for you to know, but the European wasn't going to give it to you. Dr. Srinivasan has written several books and articles to explain that the reasons many locales mentioned in the Rigveda, the Ramayana, and other texts are not found. See, yes. They've noted that many of the tales in the so-called Rigveda and other writings of the ancient Indians, they do not take place in India. No, they do not take place in India. The place names and all of that, they weren't in India. They were in the Nile Valley. That's because it was black people. Yes, black people like you, black people like me, black people like us, who were, in a sense, the earliest Buddhists and who spread it. That's why you see in the iconography, you see in the statues of the earliest Buddhists, you see black people, because they were the ones. It was black people who took it to China, who took it to India, who took it around the world. Dr. Srinivasan has studied this ancient literature and provides us with keen insight in ancient Nile Valley and the Levant history. Many people will be surprised after reading her major books, Desi, Crete to Egypt, The Missing Link of the Rigveda, and Near Eastern Deities in the Rigveda, to learn that the Rigveda, the Ramayana, and other texts provide us information on ancient Nubia and Dravidians in the Nile Valley. Yes. The Rigveda, the Mahabharata, the Ramayana. These texts are not talking about India. They're talking about the Nile Valley, family. They're talking about you. They're talking about me. They're talking about us. The ancient Indians recorded their history and elements of their civilization in texts called Puranas and Pali. Buddhists preserved their traditions in the Pali language. The Puranas are Hindu texts. The Purana and Pali texts make it clear that the Shola were Kushites from Africa. The Dravidians, who represent the Shola and other early African immigrants to India, lived in ancient Africa. It appears that the Tamil belonged to the Nehesi tribes, and the Telugu and Kannada belonged to the Tehinu tribe. These people, in a sense, were called Hasut by the ancient Egyptians. Hasut may also refer to nation or country region of Kush. Dr. Srinivasan know that in ancient Indian texts, the Nile Valley was called Kusha Gipa. Yes, the Nile Valley was called Kusha Dvipa, or Kushland. The inhabitants of Kusha Dvipa were named Kashi in the Indian text. In the Puranas, Kusha was southern Nubia or Upper Kush. In the Purana, northern Nubia or Lower Kush. The Kebra Nagast is a very interesting book, you see. And in the Kebra Nagast we read, ends of the earth, he make an allusion to the delicacy of the constitution of women, and the long distance of the journey, and the burning heat of the sun, and the hunger on the way, and the thirst of water. And this queen of the south was very beautiful in face, and her stature was superb, and her understanding and intelligence which God had given her were of such high character that she went to Jerusalem to hear the wisdom of Solomon. Yes, yes, yes. This is what they're talking about, the Kebra Nagast. It is the holy book. It is the history of the people of Axuma, Ethiopia. You know, and it talks about, in a sense, how the people, you know, of Ethiopia, how they became, in a sense, the early Jews. It talks about, in a sense, how you know, the ancient kings and queens of Ethiopia were also, in a sense, the earliest kings and queens of some of the Hebrew people. Yeah, some of the Hebrew people. You see, Axum, in a sense, is one of the kingdoms that really helped spread Buddhism. After our way, the major Ethiopian empire was founded at Axum by the Habashah around 500 BC. The people of this kingdom were very rich. They traded with Meroe, Egypt, and India. By around 200 BC, Ge'ez settlers began to arrive in Ethiopia. By 100 BC, the Ge'ez became the politically dominant group at Axum. This later period of Axum is the Ge'ez-Axum period. The Habashah Axum period was a continuation of the Habashah period, began during the Arwe Empire. Due to Axumite power, they controlled all the key harbors on both sides of the Red Sea. The Ge'ez retook Adulis and expanded their influence in the interior and across the Red Sea. The Ge'ez Axumites controlled much of Arabia until the 3rd century AD. Yes, yes, yes. It was this grand empire. And in this empire, you can see the Roman Empire in the north. You can see the Persian Empire in the east. But then we see the Empire of Axum. And it was in this area, the Empire of Axum and in parts of Meroe, that we find, in a sense, the earliest evidence of the Buddhists. We find, in a sense, it was here that Buddhism was made. The Naga Nagash was the title king in the ancient kingdoms of Arwe and Put. The Ethiopians, Nagas, were recognized as great seamen who established successful colonies in Asia. The Kebra Nagast had Menelik ruled an empire extending from the Blue Nile, yes, 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 the Blue Nile, all the way to eastern India. All of this area, think about that. All of this area was under, in a sense, Ethiopian control. Let's look at this map. In this map, we can see our way, and we can see, in a sense, Magan. Magan was the ancient Sumerian and Assyrian name for Egypt. But if you look at it, you can see, look at that map on the right-hand side. You can see where our way is, and you can see it was that these people who ruled in Arwe, Axum, also ruled in India. Yes, yes, yes. It's very important to understand that it was the Arwe Empire that ruled from the Blue Nile to India. Yes, yes. William Jones remarked on the descendants of Ham and other relationships. He writes that the biblical figures Cush, Mizra, and Rama have counterparts in Sanskrit narratives. The biblical Cush, or Cush, son of Ham, is parallel to Kusa, the son of Rama. The biblical Mizram was also a son of Ham, is parallel to the Indian name Mishra. And the biblical Rama, son of Cush, is parallel to Rama. So as you can see, Cush, Mizra, Rama, we see all of these characters. Yes, yes, yes. It was Jones in the work, it was William Jones who was the first one to notice that in the ancient Indian literature that they were talking about African people in Africa. Jones seeks to support these arguments by discerning other similarities between the early books of the Bible and Sanskrit texts, and says that versions of the biblical flood, the Tower of Babel, And the scattering of peoples and nations can also be found in the Puranas, among other texts. He tells us further in the ninth discourse that the descendants of Ham invented letters, identified heavenly bodies such as stars and planets, and calculated the Indian period of 432,000 years. Think about that. Think about that. We've been taught that history only goes back to the maybe I think the Mesolithic period around 10,000 BC. Yet the Indian literature say that the Kushites, yes, black people have had a history for over 432,000 years. Think about that, family. 432,000 years of history, but we only know, at least from the archaeological literature, we only really know about 10,000 years of that history. That means that over 422,000 years of history, we know nothing about. Think about that. Take a moment to think about that. As you can see from the Kebra Nagast, the Naga, Ethiopians ruled India and were Buddhists. Yes, yes. Look at this statue as a Buddha. You can see in a sense the evident African features, and you can see in a sense the peppercorn hair, or the braided hair. And so this is what it is that you've been taught all these lies, you've been taught all these histories. All they want to present to you are maybe Buddhist statues that come from China in the late Chinese period, or come from Japan. They never show you the authentic Buddhist statues, the original Buddhists, because these statues are black men like you, black men like us. Because the Ethiopians had conquered India, Munda and Dravidian people called the Ethiopians Naga, which probably meant Lord to the Indians. The ancient Ethiopians wore dreadlocks. Yes, yes, dreadlocks. The Naga in India were often depicted with fish tails, probably based on their worship of snakes. Thusly, they were identified as a serpent race. Yes, yes. You didn't know that, did you? Did you know before now that the ancient Indians, the East Indian people, they were in a sense considered to be serpents? They're often depicted in the ancient literature as serpentine people. Let me read this. Nibagavasti stands a place where dwell the host of the serpent race, a broad-wayed city, walled and barred, which watchful legions keep and guard. The fiercest of the serpent youth, each awful for its venom tooth, enthroned in his imperial hall, is Vasuki who rules them all. Explore the serpent city well, search town and tower and citadel. Sheen each field and wood that lies around it with your watchful eyes. Yes, yes, that's what they said about these Nagas. The Naga, the original Naga, these people were not in America. The original Naga were not Asians. The original Nagas. That's what they call the people from Ethiopia. In Indian tradition, the Naga won central India from the Valavir, bowmen, and the Minavar, fishermen. The Naga were great seamen who ruled much of India, Sri Lanka, and Burma. They were described as half man and snake. The Tamil knew them as warlike people who used the bow and the noose. The Naga were in North and South India. The oldest mention of the Naga appear in the Ramayana. They also mentioned in the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, we discovered that the Naga had the capital city in the Deccan, and other cities spread between the Jumna and Ganges rivers as early as 1300 BC. Yes, 1300 BC, that goes back to the Awa Empire. The Dravidian classic, the Chilapatikaran, made it clear that the first kingdom of India was the Naganadu. I repeat, the first kingdom of India was the Naganadu. That means the Nagaland. Ancient Ethiopian traditions support the rule of Ethiopians in India. In the Kebra Nagast, we find mention of the Yahweh kings who ruled India. The founder of the dynasty was Zabitsi and Gabukbo. This dynasty, according to the Kebra Nagast, began around 1370 BC. These rulers of India and Ethiopia were called Nagas. The Mahabharata is where we read about these great Naga. The Ethiopian and Naga kingdoms, according to the Mahabharata, were situated between the Jumna and the Ganges River. by the 13th century BC. Bika nakasabay, in the Tamils 1800 years ago, he writes, here Kings Dashaka, king of the Nagas, were fighting the Aryas, who were trying to take control of the Ethiopian cities. Yes, yes, yes. These great Ethiopian black kings, they ruled India. The Dravidians were trying to take it away. No, the Indians controlled it. In Indian and Southeast Asia, North Ethiopians and Nagas were represented by woman serpents with hoods. Kanasagarai noted that in the sculptures, the Ethiopians and Naga represented the kings with five or seven hoods, the princes by 3 hoods, and ordinary Nagas with a single hood. The major Naga tribes were the Marabar, the Ayanar, the Oliyar, the Oviyar, the Aruvalur, the Paratavar. The Nagas resist the invasion of the Sholas. In the Kalitokai, the Nagas are described as being of strong limbs and hardy frames, and fierce-looking tigers wearing long and curled locks of hair. Yes, yes, yes. We always find these references to these dreadlocks that the Ethiopians wore back in the day. There were several tribes of the Nagas, such as the Madhavada Yavinara, you see. Here's a poem that they wrote. Of strong limbs and sturdy frame, says a poet, and fierce-looking as tigers wearing long and curled locks of hair, the bloodthirsty Madhava, armed with the bow, bound with leather, ever ready to injure others, shoot their arrows at poor and helpless travelers, from whom they can rob nothing, only to feast their eyes on the quivering limbs of the dead. Here we can see some of the people in Ethiopia making these dreadlocks, and you can see that this picture of these Ethiopians making dreadlocks. We can see how back in the day we see these other pictures that come from Asia, where we see these dreadlocks, and here you can see that representation. Yes, 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 yes. See, but the European will teach you that when you see these people, these artifacts from Assyria, these artifacts from India, these ancient artifacts, they're going to tell you that these were white folks when you can see they were not white folks. These dreadlocks were dreadlocks done by black people like you, black people like me, black people like us. Know your history. The Nagas or kings of Sri Lanka are mentioned in the Mahavansa and are said to have later become Dravidians, as testified to by the names of these people, the Naganathan, the Nagatanam, the Nagaraja, and etc. Buddha, the original Buddha was black. Yes, yes, yes. The original statues of Buddha were black. The Naga Ethiopians were defeated by Dravidian-speaking people from Kamadi Nadu. Kamadi Nadu is supposed to have formerly existed as a large island in the Indian Ocean, which connected India with East Africa. The landmass is mentioned in the Silapatikara, which said that Kamadi Nadu was made up of 7 Nadu, or regions. You see, but again, there's so many Buddhists still in Africa today, but as you can see, Buddhism is not new to Africa. Buddhism has been in Africa for over 4,000 years. If you want to find out more about Buddhism, get my book, African Origin of Buddhism and the Civilization of India. Get this book, learn more, understand who we are, understand who and know who we are by knowing our history. Yes, yes, yes. Roy Wooder, Zachary Holmes, Tones 5, Black Lyron, Monray Tillman, what up, though? But again, as you can see, we have a distinctive history. I didn't really go into many of the examples of Buddhism, but I'm going to do a follow-up on this where I'm going to go into more intimate details. I just wanted to show you, in a sense, how this interaction between the Exumites, the Kebra Nagast, and how the Kebra Nagast, see, this is the Kebra Nagast is a solemn and an ancient history of the people who live in what we call modern Ethiopia today. I only talked about these Buddhists. I'm going to talk about the more Buddhist elements in the Sudan and Egypt in another presentation. But I just wanted to let you know about this interaction between these particular Buddhists that lived in Africa and ancient Ethiopia, and how they also had an influence in India. Because see, what you need to understand is that our history is not limited. Our history, our culture is not limited to Africa. It's not limited in a sense to the African continent. The history of Black people is also a history of ancient America. As I've shown you, it's a history of different aspects of ancient history. Think about this. Think about this. The Ethiopians were ruling in India from about 1300 BC to around 500 BC, and sometimes the date is pushed back even further. Think about that. They were, East Indians were ruling India for over 1,000 years. No European has ever had an empire like that. I mean, even the so-called British Empire, it didn't even last. Well, they ruled India for a while, but they ruled various parts of India. But colonialism didn't even last 100 years. Colonialism began in about 1899, and it was and many of the countries that had been colonized were becoming independent by the 1960s. That's less than 100 years. Whereas we can see that these people from modern day Ethiopia that we called Exumites, that also in a sense belong to our way, the ancient civilization of our way, ancient Hebrews, we can see that this is very interesting. And one thing that, if you don't get anything else from this lecture, I want you to remember in a sense that although we always talk about the influence of Hebrewism, in Ethiopia, you see, now you can see that these same people took Buddhism from Africa and transplanted it in India and Southeast Asia. This is something that needs to be done. And that's one of the reasons why, in a sense, we want to be able to get this understanding out, see. And, right now, hit that thumbs up button. Come on, hit that thumbs up button. Put a like on the video. Do it now. Just take your thumb up or your finger and then just hit the button. Subscribe. I'd like to get my subscribers up to maybe 50,000. Subscribe to the channel so you won't miss anything. I will admit that some people have been telling me that they've been unsubscribed. So if you're already subscribed, subscribe again, because they're kicking people off of my channel, and because they don't want you guys to know the truth. They don't want you to know our history. So please, in a sense, hit the subscribe, button, hit the bell so you can be notified, so that you too can be participating in these discussions. I need that type of support. Again, I told you earlier about the various things. I hope that you guys will try to, in a sense, support a lot of Yoshi Mod's business, and also support Tones Fi. Tones Fi, he makes a very beautiful line of jewelry. Support Tones Fi, because this brother has some materials that can really help you to be able, in a sense, to really deck yourself out. Look sharp. You can look sharp. Your girl can look sharp. And, so you should try to support this brother, because he does have the material that, in a sense, can make you look sharp. Check him out.
Free your mind. Free your mind. Let it go. To the top. Drop it to the floor. Take energy. Come at like whoa. Spring water. Let it go. Free your mind. Let it go. Tap in, go. Let it nigga know. Hey. Let it nigga know. Let it nigga know. Energy. Come at like whoa. Spring water. Let it grow. Free your mind. Let it go. To the top. Drop it to the floor. Energy. Come at like whoa. Tap in, go. Let it nigga know. Hey. She told me go and put it in her heart. I told her I don't wanna break it all apart. Let me be a night light in the dark. Hey, my nigga shine bright with the art. Gemini 2-time, know it's hard. Got the stars on the line with the charts. Big dog, so I gotta leave a mark. Free your mind, cause I'm not that smart. Hey, energy, got my light walk. Spring water, how did that grow? Free your mind, let it go. To the top, drop it to the floor. Hey, energy, got my light walk. Spring water, how did that grow? Free your mind, let it go. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, let it nigga know.
Black history. Black last time you read a real book? Knowledge given in a book. Benefit from a book. Create a movie from a book. Just don't forget to give thanks to the author who put time into the book. Thanks. Black history gems, black history, black history gems, essays. Black history gems, black history, black history gems, essays.
Parents, looking for a story that would not only captivate your little one's imagination, but would also teach valuable lessons. The Bloom, bedtime story for the young at heart, takes your child on a magical journey to ancient Kemet, where the goddess Sister Andito brings life, love, and healing. Through this enchanting tale, your child will learn the importance of nature, compassion, and positivity, all while discovering the rich history of Kemet. It's a story that inspires self-mastery and love for the world around them, making it the perfect bedtime read for little dreamers. Available on Amazon now, The Bloom not only nurtures young minds, but also supports the FBA community. Grab your copy right now and give your child the gift of adventure of learning. Order The Bloom today on Amazon. Thank you, Hotel.
Let the researcher do the research. Yes, let the researcher do the research. Dr. Clyde Winters, let him do the research. We need more researchers like Dr. Clyde Winters. Yes. Let the researcher do the research. Yes, we don't understand that it takes people who want to do research to be able, in a sense, to tell us our history. Yes, many people have taken my course, The Afrocentric Researcher. You can take it too. All you got to do is join. But if you don't, in a sense, join, understand that it's through your hard work, through your persistence, that you can become a researcher. Yes. Let the researcher do the researcher. You know what? I've written some books that can help you to be a researcher. Those books are Pathfinder, Clyde Winters in Search of the Roots of Afrocentric Studies. Yes, this book is an important book. It'll help you learn all about your history. My other book is Afrocentric Researcher by Dr. Clyde Winters. This book, in a sense, is the most important book that you will find. What makes this book important is that the Afrocentric Researcher provides you with a course. Yes, provides you with a course outline that tells you all the things you do to be a great researcher. Yes, get these books. Get these books, The Afrocentric Researcher. And, in a sense, get my book, Pathfinder. These books are the books you need to be successful, the books that will make you a great researcher. Get these books, but let the researcher do the research, but you can be the researcher too.
What's up, everybody? It's Eve. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube for space recordings and special live programs. 2024, we're doing things a little different if you haven't peeped game by now. So yeah, this is your chance. You can do it now if you want. Hit the bell here on YouTube at JustEveB, or find me on X at Justice4Just_Us. That's JUSTICE, 4 JUST_US. And if you feel so inclined, support my channel and the work we do over here. The Cash App and Patreon links are in the description. Black first.
Today is today. We need to homeschool our children due to white supremacy. In many states, education departments are passing laws to deny our children from learning the history of foundational Black Americans. Today, you can learn how to organize and teach your children in a homeschool in my book, A Guide to Homeschool Foundational Black Americans. You can use my book, History of Blacks in America from Prehistory to 1877, to teach our children their history here in the United States. You can use my book to teach world history And this book I've written is called The World History of the Black World. This will teach your children about every black civilization in the world. Get this book. The time is now. Get these books to teach your children about their greatness, to prevent them from losing confidence in their own ability to learn and be successful future adults in employment and education.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story and more. An institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
Parents, looking for a story that would not only captivate your little one's imagination, but would also teach valuable lessons. The Bloom, bedtime story for the young at heart, takes your child on a magical journey to ancient Kemet, where the goddess Sister Indito brings life, love, and healing. Through this enchanting tale, your child will learn the importance of nature, compassion, and positivity, all while discovering the rich history of Kemet. It's a story that inspires self-mastery and love for the world around them, making it the perfect bedtime read for little dreamers. Available on Amazon now, The Bloom not only nurtures young minds, but also supports the FBA community. Grab your copy right now and give your child the gift of adventure of learning. Order The Bloom today on Amazon. Thank you. Hotel.
Yeah, that's right. You know, I got this for my grandkids. Yes, I got The Bloom. Because, see, I understand in the sense that you need them to have literature that they can read that is positive. And that's why I have The Bloom. You get The Bloom too, because, see, this is the book that can help you to help your children to see themselves. You know, yeah, they have a few books already out, but this is a book that they see themselves in a great civilization, which is ancient Egypt. Remember, ancient Egypt lasted for over 3,000 years. Yes. And the bloom will bring your children into that process. Your children will know our great history. And by knowing our great history, they too can become successful. They too can, in a sense, be just like our forebears. Get this book. It is beautiful. This book is so beautiful. It has so much interesting stuff in there, songs and other things, that you need to get this book so that your child can see some of the beauty in it, see the dedication, understand who and what we are. We need to get this book. Get it. Get The Bloom, because that book is a book that our children need. We need to know this. You know, I'd like to thank everybody for visiting here tonight. I'd like guys for joining us. You see, because we can only help each other if we remember, in a sense, that even if we're not going to go out and if we're not going to stand up, support the ones who do. Stop it. Stop waiting for other people to speak up for you. Be supportive. Understand. Support my channel. Right now, press that like button. Press that subscribe button. We have to stick together because we can only help each other if we support the ones who speak up.
If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Vampires, they prey on your fears and stay away. Vampires control your honesty. Don't let them take your energy. Don't let them suck your control your honesty. Distraction away from me. I am you and you control your honesty. Don't let them take your energy. Don't let them suck your energy. It's a distraction away from me. I am you and you are me. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. If you're not going to speak up, support the ones who do. Nobody but yourself. Don't follow. I said nobody but yourself. Don't follow. Nobody but yourself. Don't follow yourself. Nobody yourself. Nobody but yourself.
The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one. To fight Cage, you must stay black first.